I'm Megan with Happy Tails Pet Care, and I'm a professional pet expert and nutrition consultant. My goal is to educate people about animals and help pet owners provide the best care to their beloved pets. See a pet in my video you like? Let me know, and I will feature that pet in more videos. Hi everyone! Usually my videos are about pets, but today I'm going to be talking about an animal that is much more than a pet. This video is going to be about service dogs and helping you guys to understand what a service dog is and how they are different than other working dogs. More and more people are using service dogs every day to help with disabilities. So people are seeing dogs in stores and restaurants and other public places more often now. And since people are seeing dogs more often in places that they are not used to seeing dogs, they're confused as to why the dog is there. Some people understand that the dog is there to help the person, but they're still confused as to what the dog is actually doing. I use a service dog for my own medical needs, and a lot of times when I've been in the store, I've heard people tell their kids, "Oh look, she has a search and rescue dog." And that's really completely wrong. It's a service dog, it's not a search and rescue dog, it's not a therapy dog. So I'm going to be helping you understand what the difference between all of those different types of working dogs is. So before we go into detail about service dogs, let's just understand first that there are many different types of working dogs. For example, some working dogs are police dogs. Police dogs are used to help police with tasks. For example, they sniff for drugs, and they also are able to attack people on command. That's what those dogs are used for. However, they are not allowed to go into public places unless it's for an actual reason having to do with police work. So a handler cannot take a police dog with them to go do their grocery shopping, which some people see my dog and they think that it's a dog that's there to look for drugs. It's not. And then there are search and rescue dogs. I've been told several times that I have a search and rescue dog. However, search and rescue dogs are actually used to look for people that are still alive that have survived a catastrophic event. For example, they were used during 9/11 to look for people that were still alive. These dogs are only working when they are trying to look for somebody, and they are not taken into public places. The only times they're going to be taken into somewhere is if they're looking for somebody. And then there are therapy dogs. And therapy dogs are used to make people feel better, to make people feel happy. These dogs are commonly seen in nursing homes, hospitals, where they're taken by their handler in order to help the people that are there, the people that are sick, feel better. And it relieves some of their stress because dogs are awesome. And who can be too upset when they're having a dog lick them and they're being able to pet a dog? So that's what therapy dogs do. They just make you feel better just by being there. Therapy dogs are not trained to perform tasks, but they are taken to basic obedience school so that they know how to interact with people when they are out in public. Therapy dogs have absolutely no access rights, so they are not allowed to go into public places. Several people have asked me, "Is your dog a therapy dog?" No, it's not a therapy dog because then I would not be allowed to take him grocery shopping with me. I wouldn't be able to go to a restaurant. Therapy dogs do not have any access rights, so they can't go into a public place without permission. And then next we have emotional support dog. Unfortunately, a lot of people with fake service dogs will call their dog an emotional support dog because they don't know the difference. An emotional support animal is a pet that is needed for emotional and psychological reasons. So a doctor or a psychiatric therapist can prescribe someone to have an emotional support dog. An emotional support dog helps people relieve their stress, cope with anxiety, depression, and other things. Again, basically just making them feel better because pets are wonderful to have in your life. A landlord cannot charge any extra fees for an emotional support animal. An emotional support dog is also able to go on an airplane with their handler if they have the right paperwork. However, an emotional support animal does not have any access rights besides the two things that I just listed. They are not allowed to go into public places such as grocery stores, restaurants, movie theaters, the mall, any other type of public place they are not allowed to be in. This basically means that if a person is taking their emotional support dog into a grocery store with them, they are committing a federal crime. And that leads us to service dogs. Now that you understand a little bit about the different types of working dogs, we can start talking about service dogs. A service dog is trained to perform tasks to help an individual with a disability. In order to have a service dog, you have to be diagnosed with a disability to have the dog with you. And your service dog must be trained to help you with the disability that you've been diagnosed with. So this is where a lot of people get confused. People think that it's cool to be able to take their dog everywhere with them. So they see somebody who looks normal and they say, oh, I'm going to go out and buy a vest for my dog so that I can have a service animal. And most people don't realize that by saying this, they're actually planning on committing a federal crime. There are many disabilities that are invisible, so you can't look at somebody and decide whether or not they really need the service dog, because you don't know what their medical history is like. The second thing that people get confused with in regard to service animals is that they don't understand what the point of the service dog is. They see a service dog out with their handler and they say, oh, I had knee surgery, so I'm going to go and get a vest for my toy poodle so that I can start carrying the dog around. And it doesn't work like this. A service dog is there to help an individual with their disability. So that means that a toy poodle could not help somebody who has had knee surgery and can't walk. They have to get a dog that's bigger, that's able to actually help them get around physically. So having a disability does not make your pet a service animal. The service dog has to be trained to help you with your disability. And if it's not trained to help you with your disability, it's a fake service dog, and that is a federal offense. I mentioned invisible disabilities. People that may look normal could have these medical issues that are not visible right away. So even though some people may look healthy, you don't know what their medical background is, so you can't really say whether or not they need a service dog. Invisible disabilities that service dogs are trained for are, for example, alerting somebody that they're going to have a seizure before the seizure happens, and also diabetic alert dogs. These dogs alert people to drops in their blood sugar that could be life-threatening. And there are also psychiatric service dogs that help people that look very normal. There are laws that protect those with real service dogs. These dogs are protected under the ADA, the Americans with Disability Act. These laws grant service dogs and their handlers access rights to all public places. What would be excluded would be privately owned homes, as well as employee-only places. But if you own a restaurant and you have a patio, you are not allowed to tell the service dog handler that they are only allowed to sit on the patio because of the dog. They are allowed to sit wherever they choose as long as it is open to the public. There is no national registry for service dogs. So by law, service dogs are not required to have an ID or any type of identification paperwork when they are out in public. In general, service dogs do wear special gear and a vest that will have different patches that say service dog, do not pet, access granted, things like that. I will make another video that will go more in depth into access rights and places that service dogs are allowed to go into and places that are excluded. Remember that service dogs are the only type of working dog that get access rights. Emotional support dogs and service dogs are often confused, and very often they are confused by those who have emotional support dogs. And this is because they are either very misinformed or they just want to be able to take their dog everywhere, even though it is against the law. So if you have an emotional support dog, please do not take your dog to stores with you or to any place that dogs are not allowed to go to. Not only is it a federal offense to take your emotional support dog into a store, they are also not trained to be around people, they are not trained to be around other service animals, and this causes a very dangerous situation for those that really need to have service dogs. Those of us who have service dogs are not taking our dogs everywhere with us because we think it's cool. It's because we need to have them. I would rather not need to have a service dog, but I am grateful that I can have a service dog, that I can have him go everywhere with me, and that he helps me. But to have a service dog, you have to have a disability, so that's not something that you want to have, and it's not something that you would wish on anybody. So the next time that you see somebody with a service dog, realize that the dog is there because they are helping that person with a disability. Using a service dog is like using a wheelchair. You wouldn't use it if you didn't have to, and you use it because you want to live a happy and fulfilled life. Please let me know if you like this video by giving it a thumbs up, And please don't be afraid to ask me any questions in regards to service dogs or the other type of working dogs. This isn't going to be the last video that I make about service dogs. I'm going to be going more in depth about having a service dog, what it's like, and access rights, all of that. So if you have any questions, let me know. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you can see more pet videos, learn more about animals, and learn more about service dogs.